All right. Thank you for joining in. We'll start a video.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us to unpack some of the lessons from the USAID GAP Inc. Women in Water Alliance. I'm Mark Breitbart, CEO of GAP, and I'm happy to be here to kick off the session and share some exciting news. But first, I want to share how GAP Inc. is focused on creating a more sustainable future for our community, people, and planet. As you saw in our opening video, we're working to build water resilience in communities along our apparel supply chain. Our brand is all about modern American optimism, and sustainability is essential to being modern and a business imperative for brands that customers expect. That's why sustainability is a core element of our vision and strategy. We are focused on creating a positive impact in the communities where we make our products, and we are proud that we're using our company's reach and scale to activate and leverage partners on the ground closest to the issues. It's the right thing to do for our customers and our business. We believe water is a human right and is a critical resource for our business. Water is used to cultivate and process raw materials like cotton. It is consumed in the mills and laundries that manufacture our products, and it is used by customers to wash their clothes. Water is also critical to the health and well-being of the people who make our products, the majority of whom are women. We're committed to improving our environmental impact across the value chain, specifically when it comes to water. We've made meaningful progress in reducing our water use through Washwell, a program that uses 20% less water than conventional wash methods in the manufacturing of jeans and khakis that we are known for. Through Washwell and other water-saving measures across GAP Inc., we have saved more than 13 billion liters of water since 2014. We're also working to improve access to clean water and sanitation in communities touched by the apparel industry, ensuring that we are contributing to a more sustainable future for all and helping build a resilient supply chain. An important way this commitment comes to life is through the USAID GAP Inc. Women and Water Alliance. This initiative aims to improve and sustain the health and well-being of women and communities along our supply chain in India, including in communities that grow cotton. We are now in the 6th and final year of this collaboration with USAID and our on-the-ground partners who have been working to empower women as champions for water, improve access to water and sanitation at the village and household levels, and advance water stewardship best practices for cotton farming. This season, GAP is introducing our first products made with cotton that was grown in villages as part of the Women in Water Alliance. In parallel, we're working with community members to improve water access. We're also working with farmers in those villages to convert to organic farming practices. Now for the big news. We are thrilled to announce that Women in Water Alliance has achieved its goal to empower 2 million people to improve their access to clean water and sanitation. Personally, I'm extremely proud of this milestone because it shows the power we have when we work with great partners and use the scale of our business to drive meaningful change. And the work continues. We are partnering with the Water Resilience Coalition to create a new phase of the initiative. where other companies can join us in supporting on-the-ground partners and empowering women and communities to improve their water access. This next phase will leverage the incredibly strong structure we've built during these last 6 years with USAID and our partners, and evolve it to reach new geographies and improve community water and climate resilience at an even broader scale. We invite you to join us. There's a long way to go, but we see strong potential for even greater collective action. We cannot move the needle alone and so must work together, both at scale and in local contexts, with women as strong voices at the table and active participants and leaders in decision-making around water access for their communities. With that, I'll turn it over to our partners at USAID. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for that remark. Ella, over to you for your opening remarks.
Great. Thanks so much, Sashwat. And I was actually going to say thanks so much, Mark. It seems so real since it's virtual. So it's good to be here in this session with all of you. I see that some folks have just recently joined. So thank you so much for joining our session. I'm Ella Lazarte from USAID, where I lead our private sector and finance efforts in water security, sanitation, and hygiene space globally. And I have been managing the W+W Alliance from the USAID side for about almost 6 years now. So really since the beginning stages of the Alliance, have been with GAP Inc., our friends at GAP Inc. Since the beginning. And it's really great to see how the work has evolved. Mark just mentioned in his video, 2 key things right now. First one's achieving our goal to empower 2 million women to improve their access to water and sanitation. And then the second one is really more forward-looking, right? With GAP Inc. partnering with a Water Resilience Coalition to create a new face of the Alliance, or the initiative really, where other companies can also join and support the work that we've been doing on the ground, empowering women and communities to improve their water access. So it's really exciting to see that and reflect a little bit on our journey. And that's what you will hear today from our distinguished panelists. So I definitely don't want to get in the way of that. I really did just want to say that and congratulate and celebrate with a team that's here. This wasn't really my doing. I've been humbly part of this puzzle, but really it's the people on the ground that have been implementing this alliance. And it's great to see it 6 years later, right? So you see the seed and it's grown. We placed a big bet on GAP Inc., partnering with a large private sector who hadn't really worked in the water space and development and in this field at scale and they were still starting out, and they had never been definitely a prime implementing partner or the lead implementing partner. And we placed a big bet, and GAP Inc. has delivered. And they have not only delivered on the targets, but more importantly, I'd say they've delivered on being a global leader in water stewardship, not just within their industry, but also beyond. And that for us is exciting. When we placed that big bet, we didn't quite know. We knew that GAP Inc. was a great company, they're capable, but it's really great to see. What we wanted was to spur transformational change, not just in the apparel industry, but in many others. And it's great to see what Mark has announced, and also just what I've been privy to or what I've participated in with the private sector actors in the last couple of years, and developing their own water strategies and their own plans for water and climate and building resilience, not just within their value chain, but also within the communities. And so it's great to see it. I know GAP Inc. has been hard at work on their own strategy, and I can't wait to see that. And it's really a combination of that program work that you will hear more about today, and really that higher level strategy work that GAP Inc. is doing, creating their own strategy, getting leadership such as Mark involved. And I think it's really through that we can affect that change. And so it's great to see it. And this is exactly the type of thing that we wanted to accomplish. I guess lastly, what do I want to see more of, right? It's great to see different companies. We've been partnering with Coca-Cola, for instance, and now GAP Inc. On improving water access with communities, and also other water stewardship efforts. But we would love to see more of the multi-stakeholder partnerships that we can do at the basin or watershed level. USAID is definitely looking for those kinds of efforts to build on and help grow in the future. And so watch out for that space. We're still in an exploratory phase, but really looking forward to working with you all. As Mark ended in his video, we invite you to join us. It's a long way to go, but we really see strong potential for even greater collective action with all of you joining us. So with that, I'll leave it to you, Sashwat, and the team. But again, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, both Mark and Ella, for taking us, taking up this panel. I'm Sashwat Rath, Chief of Party for USAID and Gap Inc. Women in Water Alliance, and Senior Manager for the Water Stewardship Team of Gap Inc. Before we dive into discussion about the learning from this 6 years partnership for which we have joined today, I wanted to ground us in the USAID Gap Inc. Women in Water Alliance on what it is and why this is unique. Then I'll turn it over to my colleague, Alison, to kick our panel discussion with our implementing partners. India is one of the priority countries for our supply chain, and several parts of the country are water stressed, including the states of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, where we have our meal partners and where cotton is also grown. That's where we have honed in to implement Women in Water Alliance. We have reached more than 3,000 villages through Women in Water Alliance. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. We aim to improve and sustain the health and well-being of women and the community touched by apparel industry. And we are approaching this through WASH and gender lens. Can we move to the next slide, please? I promise there aren't many more slides. This is the last slide. We try to keep it slide-free as much as possible. When starting the journey in 2017, the goal of sustaining the health and well-being of women in the community touched by apparel industry sounded very straightforward, but we knew that several dynamics needed to be addressed to achieve these goals. Our WASH needs assessment that we did at the beginning of this program helped us to understand the communities where we were going to be targeting. And almost each and every WASH challenge that we had read in any WASH research paper or in textbooks, we had typically all those problems in this community. Things like WASH knowledge, WASH decision-making, gender issues, WASH financing, WASH governance, water availability, water quality, agricultural efficiency, just to name a few. So we knew that we had to work with specialized organizations for different issue areas. And at the same time, we had to find a way for each of the specialized organizations to work in synergy towards the common goal. We were fortunate to partner with such specialized organizations. We were fortunate to work with CARE for women empowerment and male engagement in the community. CARE uses Gap Inc.'s life skills curriculum called PACE and has enrolled more than 190,000 women till date. Our other partner, WaterAid, works on local water governance and also supports development of community-led water action plans. Till date, more than 2,000 such plans have been developed and submitted to government. Water.org has been very useful in bridging the gap between individual WASH demand and supply by educating communities on WASH financing and catalyzing microfinance for individual WASH needs. Very close to $20 million has been catalyzed by water.org for this. And our partner, ISC, or Institute of Sustainable Communities, have been working with more than 4,000 farmers on best operating practices for water saving in cotton cultivation. They have also been instrumental in catalyzing source strengthening structures with local community and local government. And like I promised, we won't show any more slides to explain this program. But to put face to the numbers, we'd like to share the story of Pramila, a cotton farmer who took the initiative to get involved in water action planning for her village through the Women in Water Alliance. Mark Breitbart referenced her story a few minutes ago. Her village had also participated in a separate gap-funded training to help farmers convert to organic practices, which helped improve the water quality by eliminating harmful chemicals like those in pesticides. The cotton grown in her village is now being used in some Gap products. We'll show you the video, and after that, I'll turn it over to Alison. So here is her story.
गांव में जल तो है पर्याप्त मात्रा में, लेकिन शुद्ध जल मिलना चाहिए। जिसके पास है उसके पास तो है, और जिसके पास नहीं है उसको दिलाने की प्रेरणा है। मैं मेहनत इसलिए कर रही हूँ क्योंकि हर घर में जल पहुँचाना है।
Awesome. I love that video. Thank you so much, Sajwat and Ella and Mark. I'm Allison, and I'm manager for water stewardship at Gap Inc. and the deputy chief of party for the Women in Water Alliance. We're really looking forward to hearing from our partners today about the learnings from this 6-year program. We'll dive now into a discussion, and then I'll hand things back to Sajwat for some closing reflections and Q&A. So please put any questions into the Pathable chat along the way. So turning now to our panel, Kelly, Shivani, Sushma, and Trina, welcome. I'll ask each of you to introduce yourselves with the first question to help put faces to the names for our audience. So we'll start with a rapid fire question to get us going. Reflecting on the last 5 to 6 years of the Women in Water Alliance, what would you say you are most proud of? Kelly, let's start with you.
I'll go first. Thanks. So my name is Kelly Alexander. I'm based in Atlanta. I'm a senior technical advisor with CARE's Water Plus team, and CARE India is our partner in the Alliance, and as Sajwat mentioned, implements the PACE program, Gap Inc.'s PACE program. And I think it's really cool just thinking way back 6 years ago about CARE adapting the PACE program and the curriculum to the rural Indian context, including adapting the curriculum and the activities for potentially less literate populations, and integrating WASH modules with the traditional curriculum, which consists of life skills training such as communications, problem solving, decision-making, public speaking. So the PACE curriculum does not simply like educate women and men on clean water and hand washing and latrine use, but the life skills curriculum also includes a gender lens. It improves communication between men and women, between individuals and their government. So one of the things we're really excited about is that we have already had 194,000 women complete the PACE program in the past 6 years. And what I'm also really excited about, which was a very, but an unexpected benefit of the empowerment aspect of the PACE curriculum and the PACE program, is that just in the past 2 years, we've seen 362 women from the PACE program elected to positions within their local government, whether in Maharashtra or Madhya Pradesh. So that was, unexpected and really exciting.
I can just jump in here next. Hi, everyone. My name is Shivani Karigapla. I'm a senior program officer with WaterAid's US team. I'm based in New York. Our team in the Women in Water Alliance, our WaterAid team in India is primarily responsible for local water governance, as Sashwat mentioned, namely by supporting and developing the approval of village and water security plans and training on water quality and water security. WaterAid is so proud to be part of the Women in Water Alliance and all that we've achieved so far. We've demonstrated the profound effect collective action can have to respond to the holistic water needs of communities. I think we've also observed the lasting and transformative influence of increasing access to water and sanitation. Above all, I think we're probably most proud of the women in our villages who have shown us how agency in one aspect of their life has tremendous ripple effects that extends to many other aspects of their lives. Over this course of this project, we've trained over 13,000 women and young adults on water quality testing and over 3,800 people on participatory planning for these village water security plans. And we've witnessed firsthand countless examples of women like Pramila in the video that Sashwat had just shown in our Women in Water Alliance villages, now assuming leadership roles, as Kelly just mentioned. And this basically shows us how this project can create meaningful opportunities well beyond the realm of water and sanitation.
I will just jump in. So, hi everyone. My name is Sushma Adarshi, and I'm working with Water.org as a convergence coordinator, and I'm based out of Nagpur, India. And in this program, Water.org is responsible for accelerating women's investment in wash assets and services. And as Sashwat said, that it's been a great journey for all of us for the past 6 years. And we have multiple things to be proud of. Like for us, more than 100,000 families has been, able to take out the microcredit loans to finance the new wash connection or the or retrofit the existing ones. And this has occurred during COVID, which demonstrates the value and the priority the communities place on improving their access to wash. Another systemic shift that we are very proud of is that the government partners, namely the state rural livelihood missions, they have included wash financing into their annual action plans. So why this is noteworthy? Because the microcredit programs has now been introduced specifically for water and sanitation. So before our intervention, the wash was, it was very much limited to the behavior change program with no credit component. And our program, it has demonstrated that a wash loan product is an income enabling product. So 40% of the water credit customers in India have reported an increase in their household income in terms of the indirect cost saving occur due to improved health incomes. So what started out as a pilot with the government institutions to trial the microfinance solutions, it has now reached to a stage where these institutions themselves, they are prioritizing the wash microfinancing solutions for the communities, and will continue to do so even after the program ends. Our program ends.
Thanks, Shishma. I'll chime in now. My name's Trina Malik, and I'm the Vice President of Global Programs with the Institute for Sustainable Communities. And our mission focuses on equitable climate change solutions, working with communities in the US and throughout Asia. I'm based in the US, however, it's our water and agriculture team in India who executed this work. And there's so much to be proud of, including all these amazing accomplishments that our partners just listed. It's very humbling to be a part of this coalition. So thank you for that. ISC did the agricultural component of this project. And so we're so proud to have been able to do the research, identify sustainable farming practices to harvest cotton, and then to demonstrate their beneficial effects, which is to grow cotton so it's less water intensive, it reduces greenhouse gas emissions while increasing yields, while also not negatively impacting the soil that we're dependent on, and identifying a source of revenue generation for farmers. So very excited to have done the research and then to be able to demonstrate all those positive benefits of sustainable farming practices. We engaged over 4,000 farmers, over half of which were women, on these sustainable farming practices. We also supported the creation of 26 women self-help groups that produce the biofertilizers and the biopesticides that are key to the sustainable farming practices. And I'm happy to say that in 2021, the average income of these women was over $4,000 US, so quite substantial. And this work can be replicated and scaled to other cotton growing regions and to other industries with other raw materials. I mean, Ella said when they conceived of this project, they wanted it to be wider than one sector, one industry, one company. And so I think this project really demonstrates that. And so we're very proud of that.
Awesome, thank you. It is so powerful to hear how through the work of all 4 partners, it really was the women in the villages themselves who were taking action for change. And just to highlight how that ladders up into today's big announcement, it's through that work that we've empowered 2 million people to improve their access to clean water and sanitation. And that's just so incredible. And I'm personally really proud of how all the partners' work was able to become really intertwined as you all leverage each other's strengths. The Women in Water Alliance was really unique in its approach to convergence. And it's something we talked about a lot. And it wasn't always easy. So for our first question, given that this group really represents 4 different implementing partners with different angles and levers for change, what were some of the challenges for having 4 different implementers collaborate across the different dimensions of women's empowerment and water access? And how do you overcome those challenges? Sushma, let's start with you.
Okay, yeah, so it's a very interesting question. So, working with 4 different organizations who have varied implementation plan, so has its own challenges as it comes with, as in case of most multi-partner programs. So Water.org, ours is a market-based model where we work with banks, microfinance, non-banking financial corporations at a state and national level. And it's not limited to the select districts or villages. So the initial challenge was to appropriately overlap our program geographies with the alliance and the other implementing partners. And the way we overcame that was to identify and onboard the financial institutions that has presence in these areas. But then also it also became an opportunity. So looking at the alliance model from the lens of demand and supply, so Water.org brings in the supply of wash financing, but this need demand to be created within the communities for improved wash. And this is where the alliance with WaterAid and CARE and ISC is crucial, as we were able to successfully converge our program with their outreach within the communities to create awareness about wash loans solutions and activate the demand side. So just by taking the example, so introducing the wash finance module to CARE PACE program, so which trained women on how to avail the water and sanitation loans, or with ISC in improving the financial literacy of the women enterprise. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It certainly took some work along the way with everybody operating in those different spheres and with those different levers for change. And from a programmatic perspective, at the beginning, we had a much more mechanical approach with specific guidance for convergence across the partners. It was really cool that as the program really took shape and we learned and iterated over time, that really shifted, and the partners, your teams really started identifying areas of complementary strengths. And starting with that more deliberate approach and was definitely needed just to get that going. But that shift to having it be more organic was really important and really inspiring, to see from the sidelines. And in our learning workshops with the partners, reflecting recently, we identified convergence as kind of a challenge, but also one of the greatest successes of the partnership. So as far as success goes, what were some of the values of having that multi-partner implementation plan as opposed to just one implementer? And were there any surprises that came from it? Kelly?
Thanks, Allison. So, as Sushma said, when you have organizations that are coming together, everybody has their own deliverables and their own outputs and their own even, way of working and way of engaging. But, we were able to figure out how to work together. And I think, like you said, it was mechanical at the beginning. It was a little bit forced at the beginning, but then as everyone realized, we're all in this together, and we can help reinforce each other and make it the outcomes better and more sustainable. Like, for example, as Sushma mentioned, CARE was able to coordinate with water.org to add a finance module to the WASH module to the PACE curriculum for women and men to understand the access to finance and WASH related loans that were available to them. And then like WaterAid came to communities after CARE had already been there. And so, we worked with WaterAid to ensure they were following up with the natural leaders and people in the community that were really excited to engage in WASH. Whether it's water quality or whether it's WASH leadership, whatever it might be. CARE's connection and rapport with community members led to easy connection with the ISC staff and when they were looking for farmers to engage in their awesome activities as well. We really just, used our connection to each other to really create trust in the community and sort of know what's coming next. But additionally, like, even though the PACE curriculum focuses on the empowerment of men and women and encouraging them to speak up and organize for, whatever services they feel are lacking in their community, it was the follow-up from WaterAid and from water.org and from ISC, that really placed this layer of emphasis on WASH and really helped community members take the concrete steps towards improving and demanding WASH services in their community. So there was PACE, and then there was like the follow-up of all of these other partners within the Alliance to help us focus on WASH.
Right, to really activate people into action. Trina, what did that look like for ISC?
Well, Kelly really answered it all. Thanks, Kelly. That was a comprehensive answer. ISC, we found the collaboration very powerful. As you can see, each organization, each individual brings it was a diverse set of skills, experience, expertise that really made the sum greater than its parts. And that's always the intended outcome of collaborations. And so, one thing that hasn't been mentioned is all these successes you're hearing about happened during COVID as well. And there was strict COVID restrictions, even though a lot of the work is outside, but still there were strict COVID restrictions. And so I think the partnership helped in the project at hand, but then unexpected challenges that we had to overcome. A lot of the examples, specific examples have been mentioned, but just to reiterate, with water.org, we were able to enhance the financial literacy of the women enterprises. With WaterAid, able to better understand or provide a cohesive understanding on water budgeting and improving the water balance within catchments, which then informed the development of village action plans more comprehensively and more effectively. So we provided some examples, but I think we all learned from each other, and that benefited the farmers way more than if only one organization was involved.
Yeah, and I can just jump in here too. And I think I'm just going to echo a lot of what Trina and Kelly said. Working alone, it would be so difficult for us, WaterAid, to support the approval of over 2,000 village water action plans within such a short amount of time. We benefited a lot from the support of the trained PACE champions by CARE, as Kelly mentioned, their initial rapport building with the communities. They were able to help us scale up to other villages outside of the Women in Water Alliance as well. So we were fortunate to respond to the national government's movement on the Jal Jeevan Mission, their national initiative to increase access to piped water in rural households by 2024. And that couldn't have been done by us alone and without the PACE champions. And similarly, our approach would be very one-sided if not for the work of water.org, right? Their ability to include sanitation loans as part of WASH financing options has enabled us to collectively benefit a village's water, sanitation, and hygiene needs. I think one of the more apparent successes that is sticking out in my mind right now of this collaboration is how we jointly have empowered 2 million women to improve their access to clean water and sanitation. Something that I think we all can agree that would be very difficult for any one organization to achieve alone.
Yes, definitely. And that's exactly why Gap Inc. and USAID chose to work with multiple implementers to really have each specialist leverage their strengths where they can contribute the most and reinforce each other's impact with those different levers. So changing gears to another key learning that we reflected on, we found that centering around women as these local champions for their water needs was a real success. It was the hypothesis at the beginning, and it was really cool to see how that proved out. How has the Women in Water Alliance been able to effectively elevate the role of women as water stewards? Kelly?
So, so the PACE program works, a lot on self-confidence and public speaking and decision-making. So we saw a lot of women individually speaking out and taking action to demand change and to make change within their community. But also we saw women as a group, this collective action angle coming together to demand improvements. And one example, which is the dream of development programs in general, is that we saw in many communities, women came together and they organized and they went to the local government office. They demanded another water point or for a water point to be fixed, something, a water point close to the center of town or close to where people live, whatever it is, and they got it. So the government built or repaired an existing water point. It didn't come from the program budget. And this was not something we were monitoring originally, so our numbers are likely lower than reality. But so far, we documented 39 cases in 39 separate communities in which PACE participants requested and received improved drinking water access from the government. So that's amazing. That was women saying hey, we're gonna go take these new skills of being able to explain ourselves, explain our needs, and the self-confidence of talking to a government official, because in a lot of these spaces, there was never room for or women were never given space or they didn't demand space. So another example is that 5 women from Badyamandu village in Dewas district in Madhya Pradesh, they decided to use their learnings of communication from PACE. They approached their village panchayat, or the local government committee, to complain that their community water pump, the motor in the water pump, wasn't functioning. And they communicated assertively and clearly, and why they needed the water fixed, how long it's been broken, all of the facts and the data. And as a result of their efforts, a new motor was installed, and 150 families benefited from the water source. So it was really exciting.
That is a tremendous achievement, Kelly. I just want to give a shout out to CARE for that. And I think that's something that WaterAid has also kind of adopted in our approach and our strategy to make women central to anything that we do. Through our interactions with villages, we've increased the awareness that women can play in managing their drinking water. And we provided some awareness raising just to essential for them to be their village's water stewards. And we were quite amazed by how women use this awareness and learning to take control of all aspects of their village's water management, from the planning stage of the proposed water infrastructure to regularly conducting water quality tests, to monitoring the government's progress of their schemes, of their water supply schemes that were set to be installed in their communities. These women transformed into the leaders of their village's water system. And this has been recognized in a lot of other forums. So we're proud to announce also that in 2021, UNDP India, the government of India, CIWI, and other key stakeholders launched this initiative called to promote women's leadership in water governance called Women's Water Champions. We decided to nominate 5 women from our project areas, and all 5 have been selected for the critical role that they played in ensuring access to drinking water and sanitation. And just to give you a little bit more background, 41 women were selected across India. So it's quite a big achievement for us to see 5 from the Women in Water Alliance villages specifically. So one such example is Leelabai Pawar. She's in the image on the left. She's from Memedi village in Madhya Pradesh. She was able to mobilize 10 women from her village to join her to approach the government to repair their defunct borewell. So you'll see the action of demand generation happening at the village level, something that Kelly was speaking a lot to. And as a result of this, we're able to see today this borewell has now been repaired because of our advocacy efforts. And these women no longer have to travel 3 kilometers to the next available water source. They have it in their village itself. And Leelabai continues to motivate young people in her village to undergo trainings to further ensure that their village has the internal capacity to handle and navigate future water challenges. So I think WaterAid has seen Leelabai, along with countless other women in the Women in Water Alliance, have recognized and demonstrated in practice the critical and powerful role that they can play in advocating for their villages' water and sanitation needs. And we're just so pleased to see that development and witness it firsthand.
Wow, Leelabai is a hard act to follow, but I will try here. So we're very pleased with women as water stewards. Again, we come at it from the agricultural angle. Up there they are. Thank you, Allison. It's nice to see their lovely smiling faces. So as the program went on, more and more women came forward to learn more sustainable farming practices. So by the end of the project, over 50% of the farmers we worked with were women. And to promote better soil and water management practices at the farm level, ISC strengthened the network of women-led village level extension workers, otherwise known as Krishi Sakis, across 43 project villages in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, the 2 big cotton growing regions of India. And these Krishi Sakis raised awareness on crop production practices that improved soil, nutrient, water, and pest management. And through these also over 2,000 farmers were directly impacted through various trainings. There were farmer field schools, so those are trainings in the farm. There were one-on-one sessions that was more a classroom environment. There were water literacy campaigns, and then the self-help group trainings. And additionally, I mentioned before, this was all during COVID, the Krishi Sakis also worked with healthcare workers, the ASHA healthcare workers, to raise awareness on prevention of COVID-19 and also the available vaccinations. So they felt empowered. I mean, we're hearing a lot of theme of empowerment. So to go extend beyond the farming practices to the public health crisis that was at hand at the time. And as I mentioned before, we supported the creation of 26 women self-help groups, which produce the biofertilizers and the biopesticides that are key to better, more sustainable farming practices. And happy to say that even now, after our involvement, that there are efforts to develop business plans to ensure higher incomes for these groups and also establish partnerships with private orchard nurseries so that more farmers can benefit from the opportunity of entrepreneurship and wealth creation.
Just want to chime in. So I think amazing stories from WaterAid and CARE, and I think similar and ISC. So very similar to both CARE and WaterAid, like Water.org is also keeping the women in center, because like 99% of the water credit borrowers are women. But like the managing why it's women, so managing water resources at the household level has been the responsibility of women, and the lack of having a toilet or water connection, it also disproportionately affects the women and the child. So our mission is to improve access to safe water and sanitation solutions by creating or facilitating financial solutions that women can avail to build the infrastructure at home. And we do this by working with the financial institutions like MFI's bank to provide the microloans to women. And we are also leveraging the, as Trina mentioned, the SHG, so group lending models that is widely practiced in India and other countries too. So a key aspect of this, approach is to focus efforts on the creating awareness among the women borrowers through the knowledge products or training, basically on the importance of wash and the wash loan solutions that are available to them. So these capacity building tools, they these tools enable the women to make decisions for their need. So there are multiple of women borrowers. We have an example of Ganga Devi. So when she is a resident of Dhar in Madhya Pradesh, and when she gotten married to to her in-laws, she came and realized that her in-laws family, they don't have toilets and they defecate in open. But then it was not comfortable for her, it was not safe for her, so she took the decision to get the toilet constructed at home through the SHG micro credit. And the picture is not showing over here, but she painted the toilet as Izzat Ghar. She wrote that, which means in English as house of respect. So this is what these infrastructure, these wash solutions mean to the women, and the capacity building tools that we have enabled. So now these women are the real change makers from Women Plus Water Alliance program. Thank you.
Thanks. It is so exciting. I get goosebumps kind of putting the faces to names to these stories of change and all the different ways that women have taken action. But we know it's not always easy. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. What are some of the ongoing barriers or some of the big key challenges related to women's empowerment as it relates to WASH specifically?
Is that for me?
Yeah, Kelly.
So it's really interesting to hear Sushma talk about empowered women taking out loans and then building what they need, like building a toilet at the house. Because in some places, or maybe in places where water.org hasn't reached yet, or where there aren't institutions available to give loans, the WASH domain is often like infrastructure heavy and building toilets or replacing pumps, and so those are often like the male domain, but water provision and hygiene is often like the woman's domain in the household. And so like finding how those can overlap can be is a challenge sometimes, especially if women have like gone through a PACE training and know what they want and know what they need, but maybe they don't have the resources to actually like make the changes. But at the same time, within PACE, what we've done is, of course, we work principally with women, like throughout the whole 6 months, very closely with all of these women. But we also invite their male counterparts to come 3 times. So we have like sessions where they're together. And then we also have some male only sessions as well. Usually, I think about they're 9 over the course of the 6 months. And so, or 6 male only sessions. So we really tried to break down this barrier of this is the male domain, this is the female domain, and really challenge traditional gender roles through dialogue and discussion and problem solving activities. Additionally, I mean, it goes without saying that behavior change is hard. A relatively short-term engagement of 6 months working with individuals in a community can be difficult. Even with our weekly or near weekly engagement. But, we also know that behavior change isn't just teaching or educating or like saying, okay, this is the right way to do something. And then once somebody like knows the right or healthy way, they're magically going to adopt it. It's also about creating an environment conducive to change. So not only like talking with women, but also talking to the men and, working with the local government and really creating that environment for change and empowering individuals to choose and to want to choose the different or the healthier practices. And so, that's how we've tried to do it within this program. But yeah, there's challenges, but there are also successes along the way.
Yeah, I think, Kelly, you're bringing up a really good example about how a lot of the WASH domain tends to be infrastructure heavy, and then societal norms kind of relate that to a male's domain. And I think that's something that we've noticed a lot as well. And partly the biggest barriers that we've experienced as well, just because of the societal structures in place, women we saw were hesitant to take up traditionally male-dominated roles, such as that of a pump operator, for example. That role of the pump operator in a village level is crucial for ensuring regular and uninterrupted water supply to all households of the village. And then I think we noticed that there was a lack of an enabling environment. So there was a lack of understanding that maybe a woman or maybe other members of our village can take on this role as well. So we engage with a lot of discussions to encourage women to take up leadership roles in their community's water supplies. And these discussions with community leaders and family members proved to be necessary to empower these women to lead in these matters. And we've noticed that, especially in villages where there was a lot more women self-help groups working, there was a lot more initial engagement as compared to if there wasn't that women self-help group presence there. And so it's something that we've seen is the consistent engagement with the communities, initial levels of support over time. We saw only 2 to 3 women took charge in the very beginning stages. This grew to over 20 women with time. And now we've seen in the Women in Water Alliance villages, women pump operators are regularly taking care of their pumps in their villages. So this shift in gender roles is groundbreaking at the village level, and it's very inspiring for us to witness. Something else that I think is important to note, Allison, responding to your question about some of the barriers, we've noticed countless times when women are excluded from this participation and decision-making on WASH issues, the resulting services tend to be less accessible, less inclusive, equitable, and appropriate on key issues, such as menstrual hygiene management, for example. Which are often taboo and neglected and not normally talked about in a village setting. But we've seen through the Women in Water Alliance, when women are included in these discussions, when they're able to be part of the decision-making in their communities, the benefits transcend just impacting women. The whole community is able to reap their benefits. And I think that's something that is a good learning for future programs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's often women who bear the burdens of water stress, having to be the ones who are collecting and managing their household water use, but they're also so well positioned to lead those solutions and to take ownership. So that's really, really helpful to kind of make that concrete. So as we look to the future, what are some of the most sustainable elements of the Women in Water Alliance that will continue on after the program is over? Trina?
Well, there's the direct farmers that we worked with. I mean, we trained over 4,000 farmers, so they know. And so now for the rest of their careers and in their peer networks, I mean, they can spread the benefits, the implementation and the benefits of sustainable farming practices. I mean, they now know about local water balance, water budget, village water management plans. And so the conservation of water will continue because the knowledge base has increased. Specifically with the women that we worked with in the self-help groups, as everyone has said, Shivani just said it very articulately, they're empowered, their knowledge base has increased, they're more at decision-making tables, they're heard more. So their voice is louder and stronger. They have the income generation, so that's the immediate benefit, but then the knock-on benefits can be even more than that. And it's intergenerational too. A lot of these women are mothers, and so it spreads intergenerationally as well. And then in general, outside of the farmers that we directly worked with, the research that we started this project with has been demonstrated to be proven successful. So cotton growing can occur in a way that is less water intensive, reduces greenhouse gas emissions while increasing yields, while not negatively impacting the soil, while providing a source of revenue generation with biopesticides and biofertilizers. So this can be replicated across geographies, as I mentioned before, so throughout India, but well beyond that, wherever cotton is grown, and also to other commodities like soya beans, wheat, rice. And so it's very replicable and scalable, which is so exciting. This is only the beginning.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't follow that. That was so beautiful. But like, you know, women expressing their views and feeling confident to be able to do that, women being elected to local office, that's just like creating this, you know, change in these communities and in these states in India. And then, of course, women and men presenting at interface meetings. So I didn't mention that earlier, but you know, through the PACE program, where, you know, men and women are encouraged to practice and build their skills on public speaking and communication by participating in what we call interface meetings, which are meetings at the local government level, where a case or an argument can be brought or presented to the representatives there, and then, you know, sometimes they win, sometimes they don't, but going and participating and voicing their concerns or their needs, you know, basically they're practicing that through the PACE program. And, you know, it's something that's going to continue, or we hope that it will continue, because they've learned those skills and the benefits of it.
Yeah. And that engagement with local governments and other stakeholders is so essential to the longevity of the impact. And that also involves working with institutions, even the more formal institutions. So Shivani, how has Women in Water Alliance partnered with the Indian government and other key stakeholders to influence that sustainability?
Yeah, thanks, Allison. So WaterAid has been really working closely with the government, specifically responding to their national program, their national initiative called the Jal Jeevan Mission, to ensure all rural households in India have access to piped water by 2024. And WaterAid is seen as has been selected as a technical resource partner to implement these activities under the Jal Jeevan Mission, namely in developing these village action plans, which basically are a document that a village creates to basically advocate to their local government to request water supply improvements in their village. And we've previously been involved in the Swachh Bharat mission, the Clean India mission, to eliminate open defecation nationwide. And what we've done in this Women in Water Alliance is incorporate those lessons learned to make sure that we improve the delivery of this program and ensure that all rural households have access sustainably. So one of the key learnings that we've integrated is to ensure engagement and participation from all members of the community at every stage of program delivery. From the planning discussions to overseeing constructions, it's absolutely critical to have 100% participation, particularly from women and marginalized populations who are left out in these village-wide decision-making forums. Additionally, we've noticed as important as infrastructure is in achieving these ambitious targets that the government has set, it's equally important to develop the buy-in, ownership, operation, maintenance capacity at the village level. WaterAid has learned that village-wide participation and developing localized skills will ensure not only that these households are connected to pipe water, but that they will continue to be functional from years to come, right? They'll have the local expertise to be able to advocate for improvements if needed, repairs, to be able to conduct the repairs themselves, etc. They have all of the resources and knowledge to be able to continue the scheme for long time to come. In the Women in Water Alliance specifically, our role has been to facilitate some training sessions with the government on key aspects of water conservation, water quality testing, water governance. And we've also created regular forums for interactions between the villages and key government officials, key government representatives, so that the village members know who to contact in case something goes wrong, know exactly how to advocate for themselves in these forums, so that they have representation, so they have some line of sight into how decisions are being made. And what we're seeing is these village members can access these representatives for years to come, so they can continue to advocate for improved WASH services beyond the life of this program.
So as I would also want to add in, as Zubani already mentioned about Jal Jeevan Mission, which is a flagship program of India. So the government of India too has been focusing on the access of WASH to households and the communities in the past 5 years. But the this government-led ecosystem, it must be supported by the second ecosystem of the private sector stakeholders, such as the financial institutions, the impact investors, corporates, to ensure the long sustainability of WASH. And Water.org, as like similar to WaterAid, also partners with the multiple government bodies like Jal Jeevan Mission, the Swachh Bharat Mission, and the state rural livelihood missions. So under the Women+Water Alliance, so we have partnered with the state rural livelihood missions, which are the which are implementing the livelihood development and financial inclusion programs at the state level. To pilot access to WASH microfinance solutions for the rural households. And for this, we have created tools and provided training workshops to the to how to pilot these water supply and sanitation microfinance solutions with official at the state level, district level, and block level too, at all the levels. So the households, specifically women who are part of the self-help groups, they can these self-help groups are run by the state rural livelihood missions, and they can avail loans from bank or through saving accounts to build the new connections or renovate the existing water and sanitation infrastructure at their household. So as a result of our work and advocacy, so SRLM in Maharashtra, they have prioritized WASH within their annual action plan, and we are also scaling the model in other states like Orissa and Jharkhand based on the successes that we demonstrated in Women+Water geographies. And we also participated and felicitated and convened multiple stakeholder forums, roundtables, meetings to bring together the national and state level governments, the private sector, to foster dialogue on issues, policy outlook, and the practice framework in the area of financial inclusion to institutionalize the WSS lending in India as a sustainable loan category. And these efforts with the government institutions will also add and support to the sustainability of Water.org's mission in driving more private sector capital towards the water and sanitation sector.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's so powerful that being able to prove out this model of WASH microfinance solutions as being beneficial to the financial institutions and income generating to the borrowers is just such an incredible way to really have that transformational change. We've got about 15 minutes left, so we'll leave our audience with some final takeaways before transitioning to Q&A with whatever time is left. So if you do have questions, please add them to Pathable. Panelists, based on your experiences for future initiatives, what is one thing you would ensure to keep the same and one learning that you would take with you into a future project? Sushma, let's come back to you.
For us, what we would like to continue doing is demonstrating and communicating the impact of the Alliance program to companies and corporations like Gap, because Gap Inc. has shown the effectiveness of this type of program, and it has given their peers the confidence to invest in similar programs. And one learning for a future project is ensuring that the convergence between partners, it occurs at the formulation stage itself, when we are designing our programs. So all of us on stage have engaged with stakeholders during the course of implementation, and I think we have been quite successful at leveraging each other's program models, networks, and approaches, but it took us time to get to that point.
I'll try to be brief with my takeaways. For Keep the Same, I think WaterAid would love to continue working in coordination with other partners in a single watershed. I think this collective action to develop and address communities' multifaceted wash needs has been successful. And we've seen each partner bring their unique value add. And I think that could be something that we look into doing more in the future, more collective action type of projects. And I think in terms of doing differently, we'd like to strike the right balance between going deeper in targeted geographies and working across larger geographies. So working in, I think, 2,000 plus villages is no small feat. So I think it would be good to explore some other models where maybe we work more comprehensively in a smaller geography, so we can provide some more dedicated support to community members and local government members as well.
So one thing that I learned from this program that I would take, because I come from the WASH background on the Water Plus team at CARE, and one thing that I would take away and that I would replicate, and that I've already started to replicate in some of our other proposals, is working on the skills and the confidence and the communication and the decision-making of women, because and collectivization and even group bonding and women, holding each other up, because, you can say, oh, we want more women on the WASH committee, and we invited them and they're not coming. And there might be multiple reasons why they're not coming, because, they have too many things to do at home, because they don't feel confidence to speak, because no one would listen to them. There's so many, reasons why women might not be participating in the WASH space. So of course, engaging men and engaging community influencers more is something that I would keep doing, but also do more of. And then in this program, 41% of our PACE trainers, of the people who work directly with the women in the communities, only 41% of them are women. So moving forward, looking at a different program in the future, I would say, okay, why is that? How can we get that number up to 60 or 70 or 80? Of course, we like having male trainers, but when we're specifically the Women in Water Alliance and specifically working on empowerment of women, it's really nice to have women faces at the front of the room. And there might be different reasons. Women might not be confident enough to apply for a position. They might need additional flexibility that we haven't put in our contract. They might need additional considerations for travel outside of their village, all these other things, social norms, whatever it is. But I think their role in empowering other women is worth the extra effort to look further into.
Right, some of the PACE alumni, perhaps. Trina?
So for sure, what we would retain is the partnership, the collaborative nature. I mean, it was very enriching for us personally, but again, most importantly for the farmers, the ultimate stakeholder. So I think that it's so powerful. It's so powerful. And Shushma identified some ways of maybe improving the process, but just the collaborative nature is really important for the impact that we want to achieve. And the other thing is that was really important from our perspective. I mean, we're a climate change organization. And so this project was climate resiliency, because of increased rainfall, which really affects cotton production. So in order to look at the resiliency for farmers so that they can retain their income, and as we mentioned, can increase their income with biopesticides and biofertilizers, was how do we make cotton farming more resilient to the effects of climate change, specifically increased rainfall. And what this program really allowed us to do was to look at that from a very holistic perspective. Not only look at it, but research it and then implement it. So what is the intersection between water, agriculture, and livelihoods? So in water in particular, we could address the demand and the supply side. We could build resilience among the smallholder producers by sustainable crop management practices, and then enhance livelihoods, which comes from the sustainable crop management practices, which is the biofertilizers and biopesticides. So that holistic approach was invaluable to have the opportunity to identify it, figure out solutions, implement it. So that would love to continue. And then I wouldn't say anything to do differently, but to continue the work, because again, from an ag point of view, there's the harvesting of cotton, but then post-harvesting, where there's a lot of vulnerability there as well. And so, especially for ultimate buyers like textile and apparel manufacturers, how do we retain the quality of cotton post-harvest? And so that we're actually continuing that at ISC. We're doing the research there because it's all in the name of livelihoods of farmers and being resilient in a climate affected world. And so that's something we're continuing in-house and really hoping to appeal to apparel and textile manufacturers with that work as well.
Thank you. This is awesome. There are so many important learnings around the collaborative nature of this collective action work and the ways it will continue to have that impact into the future. Sajwa, can you close us out with any additional thoughts on what's next for Women in Water?
Oh, thank you, Alison. This is so good. Yeah, the reflections. I've been working with you guys for 5 years now, and every time I hear you, I learn something new. Convergence is such a, I'm a person who always looks for what's the headline? What's the headline? I mean, anyone who has worked with me has heard me saying that. Convergence is a headline. Women as stewards or change makers is a headline. 2 million goal is a headline, but more than 2 million, it's about how you achieve that 2 million. And when I broke out this news to the leadership within Gap Inc., they said that, Sasha, this is the first time we are seeing you smile so much. I just couldn't stop smiling. So thank you everyone for bringing that smile to those 2 million people and for everyone who has been involved in this program. But like I said, learning has been very important for this program, and thank you for sharing that today. And all this learning is going to come in use for the future of this program. When we are working with the Water Resilience Coalition, or WRC, to develop the next phase of this initiative, as Mark Breitbart mentioned in his initial remarks. The next phase is going to be leveraging on this strong structure we have built through Women in Water Alliance. And we will evolve this with our watch partners, the implementing partners, new co-funders, and potentially even new implementing partners to reach out to even broader scale and new geographies as we go along. This new collective action that we are talking about will contribute to the Water Resilience Coalition's overarching goal to bring climate resilient access to water, sanitation, and hygiene to 300 million people by 2030. I just wanted to be sure about that number is correct. It's huge, and we'll be glad to be contributing to that. And if you have interest to learn more or to just stay in loop about what's happening in that space, you can get in touch with our partners at WRC. We have just put in the contact info in the chat for you to be able to contact. So thank you. We will now take some questions. We have received some questions from Patable. Please feel free to add more. And we have also received a few questions from private chats. So let me see what we have. Okay, so we have a question around, great to know the impact created by the Alliance. Generalizing from your experience, what do you think are the main actions to be taken to initiate collective action for water in communities? Also, what challenges have you faced in planning and operation phase? All right, this is going to be interesting. I know many of you were involved in the planning. Kelly, I see you smiling.
Sure.
Well, Ella, I'll call you in as well, but Kelly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can start maybe part of the question. I think that one thing that CARE and I'm assuming WaterAid and others tried to do was that in creating this collective energy, it was around a problem or a challenge within the wash sector that was identified and prioritized by the community. So they, we focused on one specific thing at a time. What can we do about that water pump? Or what can we do about, that sewage issue, and so there was like one thing that wasn't our priority, or we didn't say, okay, you guys should focus on this, but it was like, hey, and we really tried to listen to what was the priority of the community, and then they could collectivize and work together around that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Ella, anything to add? Since you have been there since the beginning in the planning phase. You are on mute, Ella.
I mean, I think from my perspective, I'll probably take a more high level, broad overview, because I think collective action within the communities are best done or discussed by folks that are actually working in those communities. But from a development partner or a donor perspective, I think what's really important is to be able to support those kinds of collective action efforts at the community level, or even what I mentioned before in my opening remarks at the watershed level. It's really important to get the right partners in the room, and not necessarily to get the right partners at the same time. WaterAid didn't actually join us until year 2 of the Alliance. I think trying to get all the partners together on the same page in year 0 is a mess. You really want to, that's really because you're just starting out, right? And a lot of this talk about convergence is really trying to align our perspectives, align our missions, and figure out how we can work together. So if you put everyone together in one room in year 0, year 1, it becomes difficult. And so I think it's really important to keep that in mind, and having learned from our experience that it's okay to actually kind of build the plane as you also go. I think it's also, and the second big thing I do want to say is just really the importance of commitment from the initiators of whatever collective action effort that you have. It was a lot of sweat, blood, and tears from both GAP Inc. and USAID and implementing partners, but particularly GAP Inc. and USAID, as we really tried to get this work together. And it's a lot of, you have to be prepared to put in more hours than you probably imagined. And so senior leadership support is very important. And so I think I would just highlight those, and those are quite general, but really important and applicable to anything that you start. And then third is, you love this, Sashwat, so maybe it's to make you smile even more, is really thinking about what's your theory of change? What's the path to get there, and how would you measure it? And I think the Women in Water Alliance has had a strong way of doing that and managing the performance of the partners. And so I know we say that all the time in our USAID awards, we need MEL, we need monitoring, evaluation, learning, but I think the Women in Water Alliance really embodied that. So I do want to congratulate you and the team for that. I think it's very important to do that together in the beginning, and we spent countless of months to do that, but it's been well worth it. So thank you.
Absolutely, Ella, very well answered. And on that note, even the 2 million goal that we have been talking about today is not something that we built on day 1 of this program. We actually had our ears and eyes open. We tried to learn. This program is big on learning and adaptation based on what's happening on the ground. So we try to learn on how things are going to work out in the field. And this was almost like end of year 2 and year 3, where we knew how to implement the program, and that's where we brought in this 2 million goal into light, and then pushed all the partners towards that. And we are at time. So, and with that high note, I really want to congratulate everyone here who have been in the panel, all our partners, USAID, Gap Inc. leadership for all the support. Thank you everyone for joining in. We know this is going to be an interesting week ahead. We look forward to seeing you in other discussions. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Women in Water Partners. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.